So everybody is going to their schools and getting ready for holidays now. Next month there is Thanksgiving holiday, then there is a Christmas break.
Yeah.
I'm not going to school because I'm sick.
Well, we'll pray that you get better and recover very quickly.
It's been like 5 days, and also I got books from school, but I can't return them because I'm sick.
Oh. Okay, so let's all pray for him. We'll say Maha Mantra also for everybody's well-being. Okay, so let's first quickly say our prayers, and then we will get into our today's topic. Okay. So we'll just say the pranam mantras and then we'll start. You all also can unmute and say along. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Ti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Desha Tarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Okay. So prayers for the mercy of the Guru and Gauranga and well-being of for everybody. All right, on the way to Krishna, that's the book that we are reading. We are on the 4th chapter and we have finished almost half of the 4th chapter. Today we will complete the 4th chapter and see if we can get into the 5th one a little bit. If not, then we'll start the 5th one next week, of course. And then that will complete one book of Srila Prabhupada. So in the category 1, we will be reading 22 books. These books are small, some are little big, but nonetheless, we'll read all of them slowly. Okay, so quick recap from the few chapters that we've been reading so far, right? We started by happiness, right? We do everything for happiness. Everybody is doing things for the sake of being happy. And in the first chapter, we were reading how Prabhupada described happiness, which is a temporary happiness that is in this material world, and then the permanent happiness, which is in the spiritual world, right? So that happiness, which is eternal happiness, it has to do nothing with, that we had tried to achieve around, and we put so much endeavor in this world, eating nice, living in a comfortable house, wearing good clothes. This might give some pleasure for some time, but there will be an end to it. So that's the bigger difference between the happiness that we get from the pure love of the God when we revive our relationship back to Him. Happiness like what? The permanent happiness like what? Examples. Arjuna and Krishna, the pure bond of love between that Lord himself agrees, to become a chariot driver of Arjuna. That's like such an intimate, loving relationship, right? Then we have such bond of love between Mother Yashoda and Krishna. Mother Yashoda binds Krishna with his belly, right? Damodar month. Right now we have Kartik month going on, right? And we say the Damodar Ashtakam every day, right? At our homes. And we what do we remember in that Damodar Ashtakam prayers? We remember the pastime of Mother Yashoda binding Krishna, right? That's such an, he's the Supreme Lord, but he still agrees to get bound by mother's love. That rope is nothing else but then the love of mother. Likewise, Jagannath is just pure love. He's always extending his hands to reach us back, right? The love between Lord Ramachandra and Hanuman, love between Bharat and Lord Ramachandra, between Lakshman. We know the story of Ramayana, we all know, right? How they are so bond with each other with pure love that, to what extent they are sacrificing, their own pleasure. So they must be getting something out of it, right? And will that ever come to an end? No, that never comes to an end. So that pure love that we get, that happiness, that is like Paramanand, that's the highest of all happiness, and that never ends. It grows and grows and grows, like love between gopis and Radha and Krishna, just grows and grows forever. So that was the very, very key of our entire, of our entire spiritual life, or our adhyatmic, like the things that we are trying to read. What are we trying to gain out of these classes, this, that? So trying to elevate ourselves, to purify ourselves, to become eligible for that pure happiness. And how do we do that? In the second chapter, on the way of chanting, by chanting Lord's name, right? Purifying our hearts and knowing Lord Krishna, Shravanam and Kirtanam, right? Glorifying Lord Krishna, knowing about Lord Krishna, and chanting his name, purifying our hearts. And then in the third chapter, we learn seeing Krishna everywhere, trying to connect every moment of our lives back to Lord Krishna. In the third chapter, what did we learn? That we can see Krishna everywhere if we want to connect to him. Krishna said, I'm the taste in water, I'm the light in the sun, I'm the air, the life air in the bodies, I'm the fire of digestion. So, we can't live without these basic things. And Krishna is saying that these all things come from me. So I'm the source of everything. So these are all my energies. So we can see Krishna everywhere. So to connect back, to revive our relationship back, to see Krishna everywhere, and chant his name, purify our hearts. In that way, we will never do something that is wrong, right? And then in the fourth chapter, what we were reading, the road of a foolish and a wise. So is it, Prabhupada is pointing that, is it wise to waste that human life that we have in these in the efforts that we just waste in achieving something that is very temporary in nature? We read few of the shlokas. One of them was, what is Krishna saying here in the first paragraph? Devi yesha gunamai mama maya duratya mam me vaye prapadyante maya me tam tarantite. That it is so difficult to overcome this material modes of nature. But if you surrender unto me, then they can easily overcome and attain to my pure love. Last week we talked about Chaturvarnamaya Srishtam. So that shloka, we learned about 4 ashrams and 4 varnas and 4 ashrams, right? 4 varnas being what? Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And 4 ashrams were what? Grahastha, Vanaprastha, Brahmachari, Grahastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. So these are stages of life that person goes through. And then the quality that Krishna is saying here, Chaturvarnam Maya Srishtam. I have created these divisions based on the quality, not based on the janma. Saying guna karma vibhaga. Guna means quality and karma means activities. So based on the quality that we have and karma's activities that we do, Krishna is saying, I have divided. And gradually, wherever we are in those stages of varnashram, we gradually uplift ourselves from there by by purifying ourselves, by engaging in devotional service, and come to the platform of pure love of God. And there we can get, the eternal permanent happiness. Right? Then Krishna is also talking about here in this chapter. We were also talking about Sarva Dharman Paridyaja. Krishna is saying, surrender all, varieties of religions and surrender unto me, and I shall deliver you from sinful reactions. Do not fear. Krishna is talking about like how attaining to the love of God, that's the highest religion. Yes, there are other religions, this, that, but again, this is the highest religion to uplift ourselves, to purify ourselves. That's the basis of any religion. So the basis of why do we follow the religiosity? Why do we follow the rituals? Why do we have to? So that we can become pure. We uplift ourselves and go back to Godhead and connect back to Krishna in that pure bond of love. Bhakti yoga. Connect back to Krishna in devotion. In this verse, we learned Namam dushkritino mudha. Mudha means foolish. Krishna is saying that Namam dushkritino mudha prapadyante naradhamam maya apaharata jnana asuram bhavam ashritam. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest amongst the mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by the illusion, and who partake in the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. So are we amongst this? Is it, you understand this verse, right? Let's read the verse again. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among the mankind, whose knowledge has been stolen by the illusion, and who partake in the atheistic nature of demons, do not surrender unto me. So what is this? Is very strong statement, is it? Is it not? Right? It is so clear instruction Krishna is giving, clear instruction that people who are foolish, who are not taking a benefit, of or surrendering to the gurus that we have, to the instructions, following. When you are in the human body, we have that chance. We have that chance now, coming into this human body, and we have to follow the instructions. We surrender and we purify our hearts. Isn't like, okay, somebody's giving some like some salty crackers or something, but somewhere you're getting like nice rasgullas and gulab jamuns. Is it foolish to go behind those salty, some crackers, weird tasting, whatnot? Or would you go rather for those sweets? Right? So similarly, what we are seeing here in this material world, the happiness that we are going behind in this pleasures, those are temporary in nature. They are like nothing in front of, that the happiness, true love that, the soul can experience in connection with the Lord, in the relationship, by being bound in the relationship to the Lord. And that comes only through our own surrender. And what does surrender means? We have to understand who our position, that we are jivas. We have to understand the position of the Lord. And we have to understand that we, as in jivas, are eternal servants of the Lord. And we are meant to, have that loving, bonding relationship with the Lord. And that, and following the instructions and, following whatever the scriptures are, the scriptural guidelines are, or the dharma, so this all will actually just help us being eligible to come to that state of pure love, to be eligible for that. And then that's what Krishna is pointing in this chapter. He's saying that people are foolish who are not understanding this point. They are not surrendering. Is it so clear? It's not hard to understand, right? If we think about it for a minute, close our eyes, really think about it. What are we going to get out of all this? It's when we get that, when you see Krishna face to face, when you're in that eternal, you don't have to go through this suffering of birth, old age, disease, and death anymore. We are in an eternal life, eternal existence of ours, where there is so much pure hearts and pure love everywhere around us, and we don't want to take it. So that's the main key in this chapter. Okay, so let's continue reading. Let's see, how far did we go? Okay, so let's start from the paragraph here. Animals simply eat. Correct? Animals do what? 4 things: eat, sleep, defend, and then mate. Animals eat, sleep, defend themselves, and mate. And they die. We coming into the human body, are we supposed to do just these 4 things? They do not avail themselves of higher consciousness because that is not possible in the lower form of life. In the human being, if a human being follows the activities of the animals and does not avail himself of the ability to elevate his consciousness, he falls down the human scale and prepares for an animal body in his next life. By the grace of Krishna, we are given a highly developed body and intelligence. But if we do not utilize them, why should he give them to us again? Isn't that a question? We have seen so many animals around us, these dogs, cats, mouse, rabbits, and everything, all kinds of animals, horses, beasts. And Krishna gave us this human. What if we were in those animal bodies and they were in human bodies? We would be suffering like them. But it's the other way around. Krishna has given us this human body. So if we are doing the same thing as they are doing, why should Krishna give us this human body again? Is there a reason? If we are just to do those 4 things, we can do those 4 things in any body. We can become an animal and do 4 things. No, but when Krishna is awarding us by our, good karmas, that we come to this human body, where good fortune, the highest fortune is to come into the human body. And even higher than that is to attain to the love of God with the instructions of Guru, to having a Guru in our lives who can enlighten us, who can put us on the path back to Godhead. By the grace of Krishna, we are given this highly developed body and intelligence, but if we do not utilize them, why should he give them to us again? We must understand that this human body has developed after millions and millions of years of evolution. And that in itself is a chance to get out of the cycle of birth and death, in which over 8 million species of life evolve. You know how many species of lives are there? Like birds, aquatics, fruits, trees, and beasts, and 8.4 million species, just different types of species, okay? These are all living beings. Even plants are living beings too. That's why they are growing. That's why they are giving us fruits. If the plant is dead, will it grow? Will it give fruits? No, they are also living. So all this put together, 8.4 million species of life, we have to go through all that cycle and then come into the human body. And when we get the human body, what are we doing? We're just doing the same things that we are doing in other species of life. Then what is the significance of having this human body? This chance is given by the grace of Krishna. If we do not take it, we are not the lowest among the men. Are we not lowest among the men? Krishna, the Prabhupada is putting a question here. One may be a degree holder, MA, PhD, etc., from some university, but the illusory energy takes away this mundane knowledge. He who is really intelligent will apply this intelligence to understand who he is, who God is, what is this material nature, why is he suffering in this material nature, and what is the remedy of this suffering. Now, somebody could ask the question, I'm not suffering. I have a good life. I have a good house. I have my relatives taking care of me. My mom, dad is there, and my brothers are there. I have nice friends. I go to a nice school. So is there any suffering in that? Or could that person say that, oh, what is suffering? I don't have any suffering. I get enough food to eat. And, I go out for playing. I'm happy. So what is the suffering in all? Krishna is saying that this material world is dukhalayam ashashvatam. Ashashvatam means temporary. We all know it is temporary. We are here for the temporary, span of life that we have, and then we have to leave the body. But while we are here, Krishna is adding to another thing to it. He's saying that it's dukhalayam. It is place of misery. So what is misery in somebody could ask that what is the suffering that I have? Can anybody give an answer to that? Like, can you think about it for 30 seconds and like really tell me what is the suffering in that? Anybody raise your hands if they want to answer? If you think of an answer. Okay, so I'll tell. Are we not suffering by coming? Okay, we have everything at this point now, okay? At some point, will we all get old?
Yeah.
Or are we going to be young always like this?
No, we get old.
We will get old. We are actually getting towards our old age every second of our life, isn't it? Every second of our life is gone. We are getting closer and closer and closer and closer. Old age, then disease. Nobody can be spared of the old age. Then we all know, we have seen our elderly people in our houses. And then, is there anybody who is eternal in this material, that they are being here for more than hundreds of years and thousands of years? Is there anybody that we have seen around us?
No.
And death is the biggest of suffering that person has to go through. All life, he accumulates all these things. And then within like moments, at the time of death, he has to leave everything behind and go. All this whole life that he spent in building the house, in maintaining the relationships, in maintaining the families, all that is taken away. And what to say of all those things are taken away. Even this body is taken away. What happens to the body? Body is behind, and then we have to do all the rituals to, give the fire to the body. Everything is taken away. So even though at this moment we might have things, but where is it leading? Isn't that suffering? So why do we have to go through all this? So this is the key in this chapter, to understand that it is so important to take shelter and purify ourselves and get rid of this cycle of birth and death. Unless we purify ourselves, we cannot get out of this cycle of birth and death and old age and disease. Because then we are bound by karma. We do things right that are right, we do things that are wrong, and we keep coming back in this world. And then again the same thing. Again we have to go through the old age. Again we have to go through the disease. Again everything will be taken away. How can we say that this is not suffering? Right? So Krishna is calling that person mudha, foolish, who is not understanding this point and not understanding that, we have this human body, we should make the best use out of it, is to purify ourselves. We may apply our intelligence to manufacture an automobile, radio, television for sense gratification, but we have to understand that this is not knowledge. Rather, this is plundered intelligence. Intelligence was given to a man to understand the problem of life, but it is being misused. People are thinking they have acquired knowledge, but they know how to manufacture and drive cars. But before the cars was here, people were still going from one place to another. It is just the facility that has been increased, but along with this facility have come additional problems. Air pollution, overcrowded highways. This is all Maya. We are creating facilities, but these facilities in turn are creating so many other problems. Instead of wasting our energies to supply ourselves with so many facilities and modern amenities, we should apply intelligence to understand who and what we are. We do not like to suffer, but we should understand why suffering is being forced on us by so-called knowledge. We have simply succeeded in manufacturing the atomic bomb. Thus, the killing process has been accelerated. We are so proud to think that this is an advancement of the knowledge, but if we can manufacture something that can stop death, can we manufacture anything that can stop death? No. We have really advanced in knowledge. So, but if we take to Krishna consciousness, if we purify ourselves, if we get out of this cycle of birth and death, then we can certainly get out of this cycle of death. That is already there in the material nature, but we are so eager to prompt it by killing everyone at one drop. This is called Maya Paharata Jnana, knowledge. Apaharata means that stealing. So this Maya, that illusion that we are in, the ignorance that has stolen what? Our knowledge. This is all our knowledge is carried away by the illusion. The asuras, the demon and proclaimed atheist, actually challenge God. If it were not for our Supreme Father, we would not see the light of the day. So what is the point of challenging him? In Vedas it is stated that there are two classes of men, the Devas and the Asuras. Okay. What is the meaning of Devas? Who can tell what is the meaning of Devas? Devatas, you have heard this word very commonly at home, around you.
Like
What is
Devas mean
gods.
like the sons of Aditi, and
Yes.
and Asuras means the son of deity.
So like
Right.
gods and demons.
Yes. Correct.
Yeah.
Deva is someone who just give and give lovingly, and they're meant to. They're just serving us. Deva means to give. Dena, right? We also know this commonly used word in Hindi. Dena, to give. So let's see, who are the devas? Sun gives us light every moment. Even though it is night here, isn't it day in the India on the other part of the world? Right? Water, Varun Dev, who's the water of who's the god of waters. He's giving us, we have water all around us. He's serving us for whatever we need, quenching our thirst, right? Living our bodies, we cannot live without water. Similarly, like air. Can we live without air, without breathing one moment? And that is who? Pavan Dev. Pavan Dev is Pavan means the air, and he is the demigod of the air. So all these Pancha Mahabhutas, Mother Earth, she's also the demigoddess. She is providing us food, nourishment. Indradev, he's giving us rains. So all these are devas. And what are asuras? Asuras are the demons who would just give, unnecessary trouble to somebody, who have all this demonic nature in them. Like, envious, anger. They just want to harm. They don't want to serve. So that's the biggest difference between these two different kind of people, devas and asuras. Here Prabhupada is pointing the difference. Who are devas? The devotees of the Supreme Lord are called devas because they are serving the Lord by running this this material world. Krishna, to run this material world, Krishna has given this, Lord has given this different duties to different devas. There's different departments. So, sun god gives light and, all the nourishment to the plants for us to grow the vegetation, right? So these different departments are given to different devas, and they are running this. They're just giving and giving. Does the sun say, oh no, this person is such a sinful person, I don't want to give him my sunlight? Does it ever happen? Does the air say, no, this person is very cunning, he's eating meat, he's doing all this sinful activities, I don't want to go in his nose, and I don't want to give him a breathe air to breathe? Does it happen? No. Regardless of whatever we are doing, regardless of whatever one person is doing, these devas are just giving. They're serving the Lord. They're helping the Lord. They're serving the Lord in running this material world. So they are servants of the Lord. The devotees of the Supreme Lord are called devas because they also become like God, because they're just giving and giving and giving and serving. Whereas those who defy the authority of the Supreme Lord, now they say that no, who is Lord? I am the Lord. There's so many gods we will, see sometimes, like, oh, I'm the God, I'm the God. Really? Like, what are they doing for this world? So they will just claim to get benefit, to exploit others. These are demonic natures. These two classes are found in human society. And Krishna also points this in Bhagavad Gita by the next shloka. So let's read this. Just as there are 4 types of miscreants who never surrender unto Krishna, there are 4 types of fortunate men who worship him. And they are categorized in the next verse. So there's also actually a verse that Krishna says that there are 4 types of people who never surrender unto me. And then there are 4 types of people who always, in whatever situation, they will surrender to the Lord sooner or later. So let's see. Chaturvidha bhajante ma jnana sukritino arjuna artho jigyasu artharthi Jnani cha Bharatarshava. O best among the Bharatas, Arjuna, 4 kinds of pious men render devotional service unto me. The distressed, a person who is distressed and he is very, pure-hearted, then he will actually go and seek the, that solution for his distress or get rid of this distress through surrendering to, he will approach the Lord. The desirer of wealth, the person who he needs wealth and he is still going to God instead of thinking, oh, I can attain, I don't need God, I can do whatever, I can attain, wealth by all kinds of things that I'll do, bad or good, doesn't matter. Those people will also not surrender to. So here it is a vice versa. Krishna is saying, who are pious people, the pious among the men. So there could be all, these people who are demonic also, who are desiring of wealth. But Krishna is finding the difference. The pious people amongst these, they will approach the Lord. The inquisitive means they want to know something, they want to gain knowledge, and who are in search of knowledge of the absolute, who are seeking God. These four type of people, Krishna is saying, they will surrender unto me. This material world is full of distress, and both the pious and impious are subject to it. The cold of winter treats everyone alike. It does not care for the pious or impious, the rich or the poor. The difference between the pious and impious, however, is that the pious man thinks of God when he is in miserable condition. Often, when a man is distressed, he will go to church and pray, "Oh my Lord, I am in difficulty, please help me." Although he is praying for something material necessity, such a man is still considered to be pious because he has come to the God for his distress. Similarly, a poor man who goes to the church to pray, "Oh my Lord, please give me some money." On the other hand, the inquisitive, who are usually intelligent, they always research to understand things. They may ask, what is God? Then conduct scientific research to find out. They are also considered pious. Their research is directed to the proper object because their research is they are looking for God. The man in knowledge is called Jnani. The person who is knowledgeable is called Jnani. What is Jnana means? Jnana means knowledge, and Jnani means the person who has knowledge. One who has understood his constitutional position. Such a Jnani, that person who is knowledgeable, Prabhupada is saying here, they may have an impersonal conception of God, but because he's taking a shelter of the ultimate supreme absolute truth, he is always considered pious. And these 4 types are, men are called Sukriti. Sukriti means pious, because they are all after God. And what is Krishna saying? To them who are such pious people, what does Krishna do? Tesam jnani nitya yukta eka bhakti vishishyate priya yo hi jnani no tyaram aham sacha maya priya. Of these, one who is in full knowledge and who is always engaged in devotional service is the best. For I am very dear to him and he is very dear to me. Krishna is saying that who is surrendering, what did Krishna say in the previous verse? That person who is not surrendering, this verse. Who can read this verse? Let's read this verse. Those miscreants. Can someone read this verse? Yes, go ahead, Manhar.
Okay. Those miscreants who are grossly foolish, who are lowest among mankind, whose knowledge is stolen by illusion, and whose
and who partake of the atheistic nature of demons do not surrender to me.
Yes. And the next verse here, this one. Mihika, can you read this? O best among Bharatas.
Okay. O best among the Bharatas, Arjuna, four kinds of pious men render service, devotional service unto me: the distressed, the desire of wealth, the inquisitive, and he who is searching for knowledge of the absolute truth. Gita 7.16.
Yes. And then the next one. Of these, one who is in full knowledge, who is always engaged in devotional service, is the best, for he is very dear to me and I'm very dear to him. Now, it was very clear. Krishna is saying in these two verses, which we read and then we repeated again, right? That person who is not surrendering to Krishna, who is not taking the shelter, who is not putting an endeavor to purify themselves, they are foolish. And we saw why they are foolish, right? They are stuck in this temporary material world, and then they'll have to face all the sufferings that it brings. And the person who is trying to engage in devotional service, trying to purify themselves, Krishna is saying that these are four kinds of people that they will be engaged in devotional service. They are pious people, and I'm very dear to them, and they are very dear to me. So we see the difference right there, right? In these verses, Krishna is pointing clearly these differences. Okay, so let's read one paragraph. Jyotsna, can you read? Out of the four classes of men.
Out of the four classes of men who approach God, he who is philosophically trying to understand the nature of God, who is trying to become Krishna conscious, Vishishyate, is best qualified indeed. Krishna says that such a person is very dear to him, because he has no other business than understanding God. The other are inferior. No one has to pray to God to ask for anything, and he who does so is foolish, because he does not know that the all-knowing God is within his heart and is well aware when he is in distress or in need of money. The wise man realizes this and does not pray for relief from material miseries. Rather, he prays to glorify God and inform others how great he is. He doesn't pray for his personal interest, for bread, dress, or shelter. The pure devotee, when he is distressed, says, "Dear Lord, this is your kindness. You have put me into distress just to restify me. I should be put in much greater distress, but out of your mercy you have minimized this. This is the vision of pure devotee who is not disturbed."
Yes, very nice. Thank you. Okay, so it's very clear, right? The two things that we are learning in these two verses that we just read. Person who is foolish, Krishna is calling them mudha. It's not surrendering, and person who is surrendering, Krishna is saying they are very dear to me. So this was elaborating the same point here. Okay, somebody would like to read the next one. He who is in Krishna consciousness. Yes, go ahead, Mehika.
He who is in Krishna consciousness does not care for material distress, insult, or honor, because he is aloof from all these. He knows well that distress, honor, and insult pertain to the body only, and that he is not the body. Socrates, for instance, who believed in immortality of the soul, was condemned to death, and upon being asked how he would like to be buried, replied, "First of all, you may have catch me
You may have to catch me. Someone who knows he is not the body is not disturbed, for he knows the soul cannot be caught, tortured, killed, or buried. He who is conversant with the science of Krishna knows perfectly well that he is not the body, and he is part and parcel of Krishna, and his real relationship is with Krishna, and that somehow or other, although he has been put in material body, he must remain aloof from these qualities of material nature. He is not concerned with the modes of goodness, passion, or ignorance, but with Krishna. One who understands this is a gnani, a wise man, and is very much dear to Krishna. A distressed man, when he is put into opulence, may forget God, but a gnani who knows the real position of God will never forget him.
Very nice. Thank you, Mihika. Okay. So it's clear, right? It's very
Can man-
clear from that. Yes, go
Class
ahead.
one,
Manohar.
Mataji, class one start ending.
At 8 o'clock. Okay, Manohar, you want to read? There is a class of Gyanis.
Yeah. There's a class of Gyanis called impersonalists who say that because worshipping the the impersonal is too difficult, the form of God has to be imagined. These are not real Gyanis. They're fools. No one can imagine the form of God. God is so great. One may imagine some form, but that is a conclusion. It is not the real form. There are those who imagine the form of God, and there are those who deny the form of God. Neither is a Gyani. Those who imagine the former called impersonalists. During the Hindu-Muslim riots in India, some Hindus would go to the Muslim mosque and break statues and imagine of God, and the Muslims would reciprocate in like
Yes.
manner. In this way, they were both thinking, we've killed the Hindu God, we've killed the Muslim God, etc. Similarly, when Gandhi was leading his resistance movement, many Indians would go to the street and destroy the mailboxes, and in this way think they were destroying the government postal service. People of such mentalities are not Gyanis. The religious wars between the Hindus and Muslims and Christians and non-Christians were all
No.
conducted on the basis of ignorance. One who is in knowledge knows that God is one. He cannot be Muslim, Hindu, or Christian.
Very nice. So important point to understand. Thank you, Manohar. That is God Muslim? Only Krishna is the God only of Hindus? When Krishna is saying, I created this sun, I created this moon, I am, the fire of digestion, that's fire, that's digesting food in everybody's body. Is he saying that only I give air and water and all this to Muslims or Hindus? No, Krishna is the source of everything that exists. So there is no point in having these religious fights. Right now, you might have heard what is happening in Bangladesh, right? You might have heard the news. Is it really right thing? They are, on the God's name, they're saying that, oh, because you offended our scripture, we will come and destroy your temples. Is that really a good religion? Is it like a really, first of all, is it the right thing to do?
No, they're really wrong.
So Krishna is not saying that he is only for Hindus, he is only for Muslims. Krishna is God, one who understands the real position that God is one, no matter what. And I am the servant of the Lord. If we understand that highest position, then we don't get entangled into these riots and all this that is going on. Okay. It is our imagination that God is such and such and such. That is all imagination. The real wise man knows that God is transcendental. One who knows God is transcendental and to the material modes truly knows God. God is always besides us, present in our hearts. When we leave the body, God goes with us. And when we take another body,
the small one, like the wise man, the Gyani.
Yeah, so let me finish the two more lines and then you can read. Govind. God is always besides us, present in our hearts. When we leave body, God always goes with us. Or God also goes with us. When we take another body, He goes with us there and just see how we are doing. When we shall turn our faces towards Him, He is waiting for us. As soon as we turn our faces to God, He says, "Oh, my dear son, come. Sa cha mama priya." That, He is saying that you come to me, you surrender to me, you're very dear, you're a pious person. That's how Krishna is addressing those people. You are eternally dear to me. Now you are turning your face to me. I am very glad. So Krishna is becoming very happy. Okay, let's read Govinda.
The wise man, the Gyani, actually understand the science of God. On who only understand that God is good is in a preliminary stage, but one who actually understand how great and good God is further progressed. That knowledge is to be had in Shrimad Bhagavatam and the Bhagavad Gita. On who is actually interested in God should study the science of God, the Bhagavad Gita.
Very nice. Thank you, Govinda. So important. Krishna is saying, Idam tu guhyam tamamam pravakshyami anusvaya jnaninam vijnana sahitam yajñatva moksha se shubhat. Oh, my dear Arjuna, because you are never envious of me, I shall impart to you this confidential knowledge and realization, knowing which you shall be relieved from the misery of material existence. Moksha. Krishna is not saying that you will get the heaven, right? Or the good houses or big cars. Krishna is saying, what is saying? That you'll get relieved from this material existence. And what is that called? Moksha. This concept of moksha.
We finished chapter 4.
Yes, we are almost there. So we'll read 2 more paragraphs and then we will conclude the chapter. So what is Krishna saying here? Moksha, the concept of moksha is the most important thing that is taught in Bhagavad Gita to get relieved of this cycle of birth and death. The knowledge of God imparted in the Bhagavad Gita is very subtle and confidential. It is full of jnana, metaphysical wisdom, and vijnana, scientific knowledge. And it is full of mysteries also. How can one understand this knowledge? It must be imparted by God Himself through a bona fide representative of God. And who is that bona fide representative? Guru. For us, like we have Srila Prabhupada, right? So he came, even though Krishna spoke Bhagavad Gita back then, 5,000 years back then to Arjuna, but he keeps sending the pure devotees. One of those such devotees, pure devotees of the Lord is Srila Prabhupada, who comes again. He taught us Bhagavad Gita, right? Who gave us Bhagavad Gita as it is? Who translated that book in English? Prabhupada. So he such representatives are bona fide representatives of the Lord. Therefore, Sri Krishna says that whenever there is a discrepancies on understanding the science of God, he incarnates himself. What is that shloka? Yada yada hi dharmasya glanir bhavati bharata. Very nice. Adharmasya tadatmana srijami. Whenever there is decline in religion means they don't understand the right thing and wrong thing. Then person like Prabhupada sends a devotee like Srila Prabhupada, and he comes and teaches. Nor does the knowledge come from the sentiments. Devotion is not a sentiment, it is a science. Srila Rupa Goswami says a show of spirituality without reference of Vedic knowledge is simply a disturbance to the society. One must taste the nectar of devotion by reason, argument, knowledge, and then must pass it on to others. One should not think that Krishna consciousness is mere a mentality. The dancing and singing are all scientific. This is science. There is a science, and there is also a loving reciprocation. Krishna is dear to the wise men, and the wise men are very dear to Krishna. Krishna will return our love 1,000 folds. What capacity do we finite creatures have to love Krishna? But Krishna has immense capacity, unlimited capacity for love. So, do you all agree? So, you know, the theme of the chapter, the road of the foolish and the wise. Is it wise to take to Krishna consciousness, where Krishna is, in the concluding verse we read here, that Krishna unlimited love, and he will return our love with 1,000 folds. Unlimited capacity of love.
We'll say our prayers.
Yeah, so we will say our prayers, but before that, anybody has any questions or would like to share anything that they learned or would like to add anything? Yes, go ahead, Manohar.
I'm not gonna share anything we learned, but I want to share something else. So also I wanted to say that Jayadetta Swami Maharaj wrote a song called Yadi Prabhupada Na Hoito.
Yeah, Jai. Yadi Prabhupada, what would we be doing? We would be eating all kinds of food outside. By the mercy of Prabhupada, he taught us how to offer food to Krishna, pure, sanctified food, right? Which is so nicely, cleanly cooked, and we eat prasad. And that prasad is actually the mercy of the Lord, which has no sins in it. It's pure love of God. Then if Prabhupada wasn't there, we would be doing all kinds of other things.
If Prabhupada was not here, then we would not be doing this class.
Yes, we would not be doing this class. We would not be learning the values of life, how to lead the life in a pure way and purify ourselves. Very nice.
Bye.
Anything else anybody would like to add? Okay, so we'll say Moksha kalpatarubhyasya patitanam ananta koti vaishnavrinda ki jai. Govinda, thank you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
Kiran Mataji ki jai.
Prabhupada. So we'll see you next
Thank you,
week.
Mataji.
Yeah. Hare Krishna.